So after that, the vault dweller from Vault 13 went to the hub, and there they met a guy with a tree growing out of his head. Sounds a little far-fetched to me, Storyteller.
Well, it wasn't a tree back then. Looked more like a little seed pod, but it wasn't a plant at all. Harold was one of the first to be exposed to the forced evolutionary virus, and ended up looking like a ghoul with an eccentric taste in headwear.
Harold was born before the Great War and survived in a vault, a nice one by Vault Tech standards. He got out of the place about a dozen years after the war and took well to the New World. Eventually made his way to the hub and worked the caravans. After the war, water became the most precious resource in the wasteland. Fallout clouded the riverbeds and lakes, and people learned that drinking the rainwater was just a slow death.
Don't lecture me about finding fresh water, you tin horn. The hub was built on top of an oasis. The groundwater was deep enough that the radioactive particles were filtered out by the soil and rock. Your friend with a tree in his head worked for the water merchants, right?
Nope.
This was before the water merchants and the Great Merchant Wars, back when the hub was just a little camp run by a man named Angus out of the ruins of Barstow. Harold and some other traders ran caravans to nearby places like Junktown and the Angel's Boneyard. The town prospered, but their caravans kept getting attacked by mutated animals, so Harold got together a team of prominent hub citizens and went up north to see what was what. Harold was the only one that returned. Told me the names of the others once. Mark, Francine, Richard. All of them met some unfortunate end.
I think your little robot is pretending to have feelings again.
Harold probably got the worst of it.
After he mutated, he ended up living as a beggar, watching the city he helped create flourish all around him. The hub became so prosperous that someone killed off Angus to take control of it, and the merchants and traders fought over the water for years afterwards.
The Vault Dweller and their associates arrived 30 years after all of that. By then, the city had a central council, a sheriff, a library, and the water merchants had an undisputed claim on the oasis. They even brought the idea of money back to the wasteland. Ever wonder why people use bottle caps as currency in some places?
Too lazy to make a printing press?
Started with what they used to call hub script. At first, the water merchants would barter for their water, but over time, instead of using bottles of water for currency, they just used bottle caps to represent the value of the water. That way, merchants didn't have to carry around hundreds of gallons of water when trading valuable commodities.
The NCR has been using banknotes for most of my life. A few shops still used caps when I was a kid. Used to save up a couple to buy energy cells and make my giddy-up buttercup run around the living room. Quit jawing and get moving. I want to reach the north shore of Lake Mead before sundown.
Well, the Vault Dweller had never seen caps before they left the vault. The Overseer didn't, or couldn't, provide them with valuables to barter with.
When they arrived in the hub, they had earned a few caps at Shady Sands and Junktown, but it wasn't enough to send a shipment of water way up north to the vault. The water merchants were willing to ship the water. They were hardly the types to do charity work. The Vault Dweller didn't have enough to pay, so they had to take jobs guarding caravans out of the hub. Guided a shipment from the Crimson Caravan to the Boneyard and made a new friend, Katya. She was a scavenger who didn't even realize that she was in the presence of greatness. She just saw an excuse to get out of Los Angeles.
Damn it, you think I don't know who she was?
I don't believe Edna's heard that one yet. The five of them protected caravans all over the wasteland. The Vault Dweller came to be known throughout the hub as a person who got things done.
Earned a few caps clearing out a network of underground crime in the hub. Did the good deed of chasing off nearby raiders, and engaged in some general mischief with the local thieves guild. The team made short work of anyone foolish enough to tangle with them.
Want to camp here for the night?
Can't spare the time. This thing's too far ahead of us. We'll rest once we're past the Devil's Throat.
Wasn't long before they had enough money to pay off the water merchants. But even with the extra water from the hub, Vault 13 wouldn't last another year without a new water chip.
The hub held more adventures and mysteries than the Vault Dweller had time to explore, and some didn't seem worth the trouble to investigate.
Like that church, the Vault Dweller must have walked right past the children dozens of times and never realized what they were.
Once the vault had a few more months of water, it was time to head on to a nearby town that had a vault beneath it. Seemed like the best chance to find a new water chip. Used to be known as Bakersfield, but by 2161, it had acquired a new name. The Vault Dweller had learned a lot about the wasteland at the hub and was ready to handle anything humanity had to throw at him. What they encountered in the place that used to be Bakersfield
Was no longer human. But that
Is a story for another day.